There were two questions that y'all asked on the last beveled letters video. How to deal with round letters and how to deal with letters that don't have an end. The easiest way to deal with round letters is to make them not round. So this O, for example, rather than it being round, we turn it into this letter where it's all flat edges. Then the first step for beveled letters would be to add triangles on the ends, but we don't have ends here. So we're going to skip that step and go straight to the next step, which is connecting corners when it changes direction. So it goes along the top there, changes down, do a line there, changes again, do a line there, goes straight down, and then turns, we do a line here. Then it goes down to the right, so we connect these corners here. Then it goes straight until we get to this next corner where it starts to curve up. So once again, we connect those corners. Then it curves up even more, so we connect these next corners right here. Then it goes straight up until it starts to curve over to the left. So once again, we connect the corners, and then it curves even more to go up and straight, and we connect those corners. Anytime it changes direction, we connect the corners. Next step is going through the middle. So we just go through the middle all the way around. Then we pick a light source. I'm going to use top left once again. Then we start with our lighter color and go section by section. So this first section, obviously we're going to fill in the top of that section where the light would be hitting. Next, we have this next section. The light is hitting the top and the left of it. So once again, we fill this section in. Then we have this straight section. Once again, of course, the light would be hitting the left side of it. So we fill this section in with the lighter color. Then this next section is a little tricky. You could call this the bottom of it, or you could call it the left. I feel like it's more on the bottom than it is on the left. The light probably isn't going to be hitting the bottom of that. So we're going to fill in this top section where the light would be hitting. Then this next section has very obvious top and bottom. We're going to fill in the top with the lighter color. Same with this next section, very obvious top and bottom. So we're going to fill in the top with the lighter color. Then this next straight section, there's a left and a right side. Light is coming from the top left, so we're going to fill in the left side of it. Then this next section is the reverse of what we did on the bottom there, that other tricky one. The inside of it is facing the bottom, and this outside part is facing up enough that light would probably be hitting there before it'd be hitting on the underside. So we're going to fill that in with the lighter color. Now that we're done with the lighter color, we're going to go through and fill in everywhere else with our darker color. And then if we want to emphasize it further, first we go through, add our highlights around the whole edge of every lighter area, and then we add our drop shadow, same way we would add a drop shadow for any other purpose. I might do like one more of these simple beveled videos, and then we can get into some stuff like this. I messed this one up a little bit in some places, but I just wanted to show that more complex letters and round areas are both possible.